Good evening and welcome to Muse on the News. Oh, we're all back to front. It's got me all discombobulated. You girls are on the wrong side tonight.
You wanted.
Yes, I know. It all will become apparent. Anyway, how are you girls? How has your week been?
It's been very good. Cold. What happened?
We had 4 seasons in one day today. Glorious sunshine, and then it twatted it down with snow.
Yeah, but it was beautiful because it didn't actually settle and ruin my work.
My giggle's coming later.
You're supposed to giggle when we first go live.
I was still waiting for that bit where I say, and I'm Jana.
Oh, right, I'm sorry. That's Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa.
Hi, I'm not.
Oh, yeah. I'm Molly.
And I'm Jana.
Do you know what? One of these weeks, right? One of these weeks we'll get it right. But listen, I tell you what, it was because I was completely thrown by you being on the wrong side, and I should have expected that because I did request it.
Do you know what? This is our 19th episode, and you'd think we'd have a modicum of professionalism amongst us now.
No,
19.
Particularly embarrassing this evening because we've got a guest.
We have got a guest waiting backstage, so shall we crack on?
Yes, we're going to crack on because this guest needs to get into bed quickly because he's a busy boy.
Okay,
right.
Let's introduce our guest then.
Welcome, Ben. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well. So listen, everyone, this is Ben Andrews, and he's an organic farmer from Herefordshire. And he is the writer of the first article that we're going to cover tonight. Ben, thanks so much for making the time to come and be with us this evening. We're recording very late this evening, and I know that you have a very early start in the morning to keep things going on your farm. So I really appreciate you making some extra time in your day for us.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure, an absolute pleasure. Now, look at this, right? This is a fantastic article which featured in WickedLeaks, which is published by a company called Riverford. And anybody who has watched us before will know that I am a huge fan of Riverford. And of course, there are loads of other providers as well. We have used Able and Cole in the past as well. Both absolutely brilliant, and I think there's nothing more joyful than opening my door on a Thursday morning and finding my box of beautiful vegetables.
It's like a little Christmas, isn't it? A little weekly Christmas.
Well, I get so excited. Like, Cal gets up first and she's not allowed to bring the box in because I have to see it first.
I come
Oh, wow.
to have coffee at 6:15. She's like, what's in the box?
Yeah, I know. But anyway, look, before we get on to the nuts and bolts of this article, I just wanted to say, Ben, that having the boxes come into the door throughout the pandemic has been an absolute godsend, particularly in the beginning when there was shortages in the supermarkets. Just knowing that was coming and that we had enough to feed the family with was brilliant. So thank you and all of your colleagues across the country for doing what you do. And we're big advocates of supporting British produce and British farmers here. And, thanks a million for everything.
No worries. Thank you. We couldn't do what we do without all the support from people wanting to buy the British fruit and veg. So it's I wish we had more because it just especially this time of year, everything's gone. We're down to sort of like potatoes and turnips about being the only thing on in season in the UK. So it's like gets to sort of April time and everyone's like, just want a lettuce, just want a tomato.
Yeah,
I'm the opposite. I got a box full of turnips every week. I would be well happy.
But I tell you what I'm dying for. I said it today. I'm dying for some of the lovely cherry tomatoes that come in our veggie box. And the flavours just
when do we get those, Ben? When do cherry tomatoes?
Oh, not for a while.
Yeah, won't be for a while, and they're sort of usually grown in the big glass houses. They grow a lot of those over in east of England. They've got where they make sugar. They turn the sugar beet into sugar, and they pump the carbon dioxide out of the factory into the glass houses to feed the tomatoes.
Wow.
It's so clever, isn't it? It's just so clever. And in my veggie box, I get a little weekly newsletter, and it's always full of little stories like that just make me realise what a big thing sustainable farming is, and the effort and the theory behind it and the science behind it. To be able to farm organically needs a lot of really seriously clever thinking, and yeah, it's fascinating.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Particularly for somebody like me who can't even grow a spider plant.
No, we grew about 15 turnips last year.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And about 6 courgettes. We went on our way.
I think we got
becoming,
9.
like, sorry suppliers with our little shops outside.
Anyway, getting on to this article. So
It's probably bad, shall we?
this caught my eye. It popped into my email inbox actually, and it was the first time that I had seen a story like this pop up in anything that I've had from my veg supplier. And this is produced by Riverford. And do you want to just tell us about this article?
Yeah, so I just on I don't use Twitter that much, but the editor of Wicked Leaks messaged me and said, would you like to write an article on your experience as a gay farmer? And I was like, yeah, sure, okay, yeah, any opportunity to talk about it, keep the conversation going, it's great. But then I just realized, like, it's been such a long time since I came out that I almost forgotten all the issues I had with it at the beginning, and it sort of made me stop and think and sort of like rewind and think, what were the issues? Am I looking at this sort of like, am I sort of like just rewriting history in the way I think of this, looking at it in hindsight? But I think one of the things that I think is not just with LGBT farmers, but across the board, is one of the biggest sort of barriers is the fear of rejection and the fear of if people find out, then people aren't, they're not gonna love me anymore. They're not gonna accept me. They're not gonna want to be my friend. And for me and all the other LGBT people working in farming that I've spoken to, the vast majority of them, the biggest issue is, it is that fear of rejection, because growing up in the 80s, you have that, you've got Section 28, you've got the AIDS crisis, you've got every single LGBT person represented on TV would be just this total, they would be the comedy character, the negative stereotype, just anyone, like any people who have, like, now, I grew up with Philip Schofield literally in the closet,
Yes.
and all these people that were not, I think like even George Michael was straight when I was growing up. So there was just, gay people just didn't exist. It wasn't necessarily that it was a bad thing, it just didn't exist in my I'm talking in my world. So like, I did not know existed. And then you think gay people can't be farmers because I don't know any gay farmers. And then you sort of start to see people in the media being gay, and they all live in London, and they're all like interior designers, and they're all living these really glamorous lives and everything. And it's like, but there were no gay farmers. I don't understand. So and I think the main thing though really is that I was terrified, but I came out at like 19 at university, told my parents, and it was hideous to start with. For a few months it was hideous, but we worked through it, and all my friends stayed with me, and they are still my friends now. And apart from my mum's brother, who we don't talk to anymore, I've probably, I count the number of, in fact, apart from him, I don't think I've had anyone be overtly homophobic to me. And that, I count myself incredibly lucky. I mean, maybe I've just had this really lucky one-off experience of it, because I have spoken to other people, and they've had negative negative experiences. But like, I am incredibly privileged in the fact that, I mean, Christ, I'm a white cisgendered gay man I mean, it doesn't get like now. It's gone from sort of like when I was growing up, not being talked about, to it's like it's almost obscene how overrepresented straight, white cisgendered men are. It's just like gay men are. I mean, it's like it's I find it a little embarrassing. So it's what I wanted to do. Sort of chatting with one of my other gay farmer mates, and because there's a few of us. Turns out I'm not the only one, not the only gay in the village. It turns out that there's actually quite a few of us, and so one of the big issues. I promise, I had 650 words to write all this, and I could have like gone on and on and on about it forever. It's like a big thing to unpack. So a mate of mine, Matt Naylor, big farmer over in Lincolnshire, and he called me up one day with this idea to start an organisation called Agrespect. Now, he'd seen a piece on Country File about gay farmers, and it's always said gay farmers, which is like, always thinking that it's just going to be a gay man. And the B's and the L's and the T's don't really get a mention. But there was this article on Country File about gay farmers, and gay farmers are all, farming's hard enough as it is, but gay farmers have it even harder, and they're depressed, and they all commit suicide. And we're like, well, if this isn't the worst thing to help people feel that they can be happy and out and live in the country in rural jobs. I mean, it just, to me, it felt like this self-fulfilling prophecy that if you're either going to be a closeted farmer, or you have to run away to the city to live your open and free life. And we're like, well, we don't recognize this. This isn't what we do. This isn't who we are. So we thought, well, if we can show a positive, positive stories of LGBT people in rural industries, then perhaps that can help give people a little bit more hope, give them, stop the exodus of people from the country to the cities, because we really need fresh blood in farming, because the average age of farmers is 59. We've got massive skills gap, and we need to attract new people, not just like people like me whose family have been farming for since records began. We need new people coming in from outside. So we want to try to promote it as a really welcoming space, which I know is not the sort of like the reputation that it's got.
That's it. Yeah. Is it perceived culture, Ben? Because we all sort of assume that farming is a very sort of macho, manly culture, and it's all, I don't know, flat caps and real ale, and the women do the housework and raise the kids, and the men drive the tractors and trample the mud through the house. Is it like that, or is that just a perceived stereotype?
I'm not lying. I mean, there are stereotypes are there for a reason, and I'd say that there are. I think we probably all I fit God knows how many stereotypes of a gay man, but as well as a farmer. But there is so much diversity within that as well, that so from Instagram I have met so many different farmers from different walks of life, people who've just come into farming, people who've been farming for hundreds of years, people who have just tiny micro farms to massive estates. Just all different types of farming, and it's been there are lots of awesome people. There are a lot of dicks out there as well, I'll be honest, but it's quite often in that diversity away from the stereotype, away from the norm, is where you really start to see the interesting ideas and the people having to think outside the box, because they maybe haven't had things as easy as I have. My family we rent a farm off Oxford University. That's we've been renting the same farm for like 80 years or something since my great grandfather took on the tenancy there. So we don't own the big farm, but it's pretty secure. And to get that sort of tenancy, now it's almost impossible. So these people who are like, you've got people like, I want to be a farmer, so how do I go about doing it? And like I said, they've really got to think outside the box to get on there. But it's amazing. Even those ones with the flat caps who drink the real ale, it's amazing how quite liberal socially a lot of them are, and how they're totally fine. I mean, my husband and I, everyone's just always wants to stop and have a chat over the garden wall sort of thing, and he's a doctor, he's a GP, and so everyone knows him in the local area. So yeah, it's really, yeah.
It's so good to hear. It's so good to hear that acceptance is there in an industry where you imagine that it probably is quite difficult. And I think that the work that you're doing with Agrespect is hugely important. And it is about visibility, and it is about people leading full, positive, healthy lives as gay people. And it's showing young people and people who are still closeted that it's a perfectly achievable thing.
That is to see that people can actually make any career choices they want, and they're not restricted now by the stereotypes. Are you finding that there's a lot of people coming to farming now, because we're all a lot more conscious, aren't we? We're all very aware that when we pick up a pineapple in Sainsbury's, it's been on a plane for 36 hours, and now we think about the food we eat, and we think about the locations it's grown, and we're so conscious and woke, if you like, now. Bringing new people into the game.
It's definitely, I think a lot of people have tried bit of growing your own stuff, like even from a window box to taking on allotments. There's been so much interest in growing food, and of course the health side of it as well. When you're sort of like stuck in a global pandemic, all about health, and people are thinking, what can I do to keep myself as healthy as possible, and just to, like you said, to keep the conversations going, and to try to bridge that gap between town and country, because there is sort of a level of sort of polarization, and there's always that them and us sort of thing, whether, like I say, whether it's LGBT versus straight, or whether it's town versus country, and it's like Brexit and Remain and all these like big issues that we spend so long thinking about differences, when you break it down, we've got a lot more things in common than we have differences. And I get a lot of people sort of saying to me about, don't you miss the gay community in the country? And it's like, well, actually, we've got loads of gay friends out here. And
we are everywhere.
Yeah.
And I know it's like, and it's not an issue. It's like, well, there's, I've also got loads of straight friends as well, and I've got we have different things in common at different times.
Stereotype though, isn't it? You're meant to be in the bar till 2 a.m. with a hanky in your back pocket, doing WKDs and dancing to the Pop Boys.
It's rather fun.
I mean, once a year maybe. That's enough for me. All for that,
girls, we've monopolised the conversation.
Molly,
again.
you are our resident horticulturalist. You must.
No, it's fascinating listening, because so my history is in horticulture, so a little
cool.
similar industry. But I think, and actually avid country fire watcher, but actually missed that episode. And what you're doing is fantastic, to actually go out there and say, actually, this isn't always the case, and actually there are loads of positive stories out there, and you can do anything, can't you? I mean, I found actually horticulture is a really accepting community, but I think it has very similar traits with farming in that predominantly it's an older kind of industry, kind of I'm a judge for South and Southeast in Bloom, and where I travel across the south of England, and actually I'm one of the youngest judges, and a lot of them are, you know, middle-aged, kind of older, white, straight, cis men, kind of in their 70s perhaps, and they're fantastic to learn from, and I love speaking to them, and they've got so much knowledge, but they are going towards the end of their sort of horticultural career. Not life. You've got to encourage the younger generation, haven't you? And that's what I'm trying to do in schools and stuff, because actually they will go off, and they need to teach the next ones to come through and encourage the next people to come through. Otherwise we're going to lose those industries, aren't we? So
yeah, it's
really important.
I think horticulture is one of those things where, like, farming, sort of like saying about the pandemic, and there's sort of like this almost possibly a little over romanticized notion of farming, and so like you get, you know, I do get a lot of people on Instagram going like, oh, I've always wanted to be a farmer, and they have these grand ideas, and I'm like, yeah, okay, back it up one step at a time. But like with horticulture, yeah, there is that. I think it's just like about to sort of like it's getting like sexy again, because it was like very much the sort of Alan Titchmarsh, sort of like slightly like fuddy-duddy, like old man, like say, you know, flat cap and wellies sort of thing down his allotment, growing the biggest pumpkin for the show. But yeah, like my husband, that's his thing. It's his, like, after when he comes home from work, he does a garden. I have nothing to do with the garden. And so he's got like his lanterns out underneath the fruit trees at the moment. It's going to freeze tonight, and they're in blossom. He doesn't want the buds to die on it. So.
Fantastic.
Very good. Never know, Molly might come and judge your cabbage one day.
Yeah. Come and do the local, be a guest.
Sounds like a appalling euphemism. Yeah. Judge your cabbage harshly, young man.
Oh, right. Listen, Ben, we better wrap up with you and let you get to bed before your early start in the morning.
Tell us how we can get in touch with your organisation then.
So it's Agrespect. So Google Agrespect, and we're on the various social media channels. We are Agrespect. The social media thing's been down a bit because we're just not really been doing much social stuff. But we're hoping to do. We did Brighton Pride, was the first Pride ever we did last year, behind a massive rainbow. Massey Ferguson called Sassy Ferguson, and they Massey Ferguson sponsored it, and then this year we're hoping to do Birmingham Pride.
Please come to our Pride. Please come to Pride in Surrey. We'll speak further after this show, because we would absolutely love to have you there representing the farming community, Ben. It'd be lovely to actually meet you in person after all this nonsense.
Yeah. It'd be lovely to. Yeah, I know. I'm not sure how I'm going to manage in social situations, but it's like
a bit like us. Oh, right. Listen, Ben, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you, and we could chat all night. Literally all night. It's been lovely to have a chat.
Yeah.
No, thank you very much.
It's been lovely to meet you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
It's been what a lovely man.
Lovely.
Really nice. My gosh. I learnt to drive a Massey Ferguson before I learnt to drive a car. Brought back memories. Tractor. Yeah. Fantastic.
All right, listen, girls. I think we might have to either work through very quickly through our next articles.
Yeah. Should we just bish bash bosh?
Bish bash bosh. We can do that.
Bash bosh.
Yeah. Next. Right. Next is my article actually.
Okay.
And to summarise really, really quickly, Keir Starmer has been naughty. So some of us may have read the headlines over Easter weekend. Keir Starmer went and did a bit of a PR stunt, bit of a photo opportunity at a
bit of a
church.
boo-boo.
Bit of a huge boo-boo, really. Hold on, let me just scroll down, and because I can't remember the name of this church. He visited. There we go. Jesus House in London, and this is a mistake that was actually made by Theresa May a few years ago as well. The church is one of the most outspoken opponents against gay marriage, and a hugely homophobic branch of Christianity, and the head honchos at that church are really homophobic people. Keir Starmer went to the church and did the photo op and said, you know, what wonderful work they're doing, and it would appear that either he didn't realise or his people didn't realise that he was in a really controversial place, and he has since come out and apologised and said that he doesn't actually agree with the ethos of the church, the philosophies of the church. But really, the question I wanted to ask is that an acceptable mistake to make? That's not hitting someone's car when you open your car in a car park, is it? That's not, you know, bumping into somebody while you're trying to get your bacon in Waitrose. That is a really ridiculous mistake to make. Is it forgivable?
No. And you know what? It's almost like if you didn't know better, it's almost something that happens in the movies where somebody's been paid to make a catastrophic error in somebody's campaign trail. I mean, absolutely chronic for him to end up in that church, given the ethos of that church, is appalling. Not to mention the fact that Theresa May already made the same mistake and was called out heavily for it. I mean, I think that's the bit that you know, that takes the biscuit, really, doesn't it?
I think what it does, right, is it just goes to show that many of our politicians, not all, but many, are so desperate for the photo opportunity at these times, you know, whether it be Easter or Eid or Hanukkah or whatever it is. They're so desperate to show their inclusivity and so desperate to show that they're accepting of all cultures and all festivals and everything, that they just rush out to the first available place and you know, and do an interview and a quick snap without doing any research. And actually, I read a few articles on this, and all the journalists that reported on this said literally a 2-second Google would have brought up this church and told you everything you needed to know and how controversial they were.
Sloppy.
You would think, wouldn't you, that it's like the most basic thing for a politician if they're going to go anywhere. Just they've got a whole team of people around them, like you say, they literally need a 2-minute search. And if you look at the history of this church, literally picked probably the worst church for inclusivity, and the fact that it's already happened before. It's if it was really
the same church.
It
was exactly the same church.
Exactly the same church, yeah.
Oh well, that's sad. But that's
Theresa May did it before, and then she had to issue an apology before. So we know that Theresa May is a deeply Christian woman. Her father's a minister. We know she's a practicing Christian, and even she didn't bother to put the research in, or her team didn't bother to put the research in. With Keir Starmer, we're not quite so sure as to what his religious leanings are, even if he has any. But you know, to be so desperate to, you know, was it just a quick run across town, the closest church, and to do that, or was it? Is there a cloak and dagger motive here? Is that trying to appeal to the right wing, possible swing voters who very much have a problem with our community? Is there more at play here than an oops?
We'll probably never find out the real truth.
I feel like there might be, though, because I find it quite hard to believe that a politician such as a leader of the opposition would just randomly run out to a local church and have a snap taken without some kind of agenda or looking into it.
Jeremy Corbyn wouldn't have made that mistake, would he?
What are you thinking?
Everybody's capable of making a mistake.
But when some things are a bit more hidden, then I can completely see that. But this seems very vocal, and when you read about what they've stood up for in the past few years,
he would take the risk because he must have known that he was not going to be liked for doing that. But why would
They
you?
do as they're told a lot of the time, don't they? You've got to remember that a lot of politicians are handled and controlled, and they're pushed from pillar to post. They're like, you're going here, you're going here. As far as it's entirely possible that the man, as far as he was now, he was going to a Christian church, do a little photo op, say Happy Easter, Jesus, all that malarkey, and then going off to his next engagement.
Yeah.
And that is entirely possible, and we mustn't assume that he's got an ulterior motive, but. I don't want to politicize this. I just want to bring. I just want to, from a point of a public figure and a man who is the leader of a political party. Is it a really sloppy mistake to make, or should we read a little bit more into it? Where is it coming from?
Let's give him the benefit of the doubt and assume that it was a sloppy mistake. But my goodness, what a mistake to make! And the positive to take out from it is that he has fully apologized, accepted his responsibility in that, and accepts that it was completely unacceptable.
Yes, until another politician visits in a couple of years' time without having food in place, and they're there to celebrate Christmas.
Well, they can copy and paste Keir Starmer's apology
episode and just overdub the name of the politician.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Right.
anyway.
In your haste, my love, that you actually chose the third article as the second article. So we're back to number 2 now.
I am so very sorry. So
all right.
are we doing Jana's article?
Jana's article next.
Jana!
Yeah, no, we can.
I love
We
it.
can just. Yeah, no, we can just fly through it though, because I am conscious about the time. But yeah, I come across it and I thought it was really nice. It talks about MI6 flying the pride flag. Yeah, that's
Sorry.
exactly what I was going to say. Trans pride flag. And I think that's really nice. They have been flying the LGBT plus gay flag. But this is I think since 2015, but this is the first time they actually put the trans flag there. And that's great because, why not? Like, they're spies of MI6. Doesn't matter what letter of the alphabet they fall under. I'm sure they can make a good spy, right? So we got to support that. And MI6 decided that's a good thing to do. Support the trans spies.
Yeah, all government agencies need to represent the community and the world and the people that exist within it. Surely it can only be a good thing to have equal representation across all sexualities, across all cultures, across all ethnicities. It can only make the spy game better, surely.
Yes, but I think what's lovely in this article is what's lovely in this article is that some of the quotes in the article say things like, our trans and binary colleagues enrich our workplace and they bring value to our roles. And the outpouring of support for trans and non-binary members of MI6 is fantastic. And I think it's wonderful that the trans pride flag is being flown in its own right, because actually our trans siblings have a very, very tough time and their struggle is really, really very real. And I think to be able to, really focus and shine a light on support of them is a huge step.
In fact,
an assistance, won't it, to smaller companies who review. I mean, we all have a mutual friend, don't we, and who's an electrician who's been turned away for jobs in the past due to their gender identity. And we've got government agencies saying, we don't care how you identify. If you're really good at your job, come and talk to us. That sends a message to these small companies who are turning people away because they feel uncomfortable about dealing with people who are cisgender.
Yeah.
I can't remember any other organisation flying a trans flag recently. I really can't.
Such a bold
We're going to
statement.
get our council to do it. I think we know that Surrey Heath Borough Council are one of the first borough council was in Surrey to fly the Pride flag every year to mark our Pride Month, Surrey Pride Month. I think we might ask them to fly what's the new flag called?
Progressive
The
flag.
progressive flag.
Flag. Yeah.
So we represent all members of our community, and that would be a council who's saying, we love you and we respect you regardless of your identity.
I'm just a little bit gutted because we took a train to London Sunday.
I'm so
Yes,
jealous.
Sunday.
Yeah, I know. And obviously, we
Was
go
it-
past the MI6, but the flag wouldn't have been there because they did it for the Trans Visibility Day, I believe.
Yeah.
So that would have been a lovely photo. MI6 with the trans flag. I would have loved
Well,
that.
was London fabulously quiet? Could you walk around looking up and not bump into people?
Yes, there was like the parks were quite busy, but it was I thought it was pretty well spaced out, and actually people were taking away their rubbish. There weren't the barbecues and stuff, which I was really impressed by. And we walked out of the park to go for lunch and then brought it back to the park. And I was just wandering around staring at, like, I haven't seen a building this high in over a year. It was fabulous.
There's a lot of new buildings that have been built since we last went. It was incredible actually to see how many new buildings are.
Oh,
We'll have to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, right.
Can I just say quickly, I just love on this article that there are spies. Like, I know that it's like a real James Bond.
I know. Next James
Real
Bond
thing.
must be a trans person. That'd be amazing. Can you imagine? Next James Bond.
Next James
you know,
Bond.
trans people are representative of our community, and you know, it's really important to have a really diverse workforce. And
Yeah.
there are assignments where, you know, perhaps the most appropriate person would be a trans or non-binary person.
Mhm.
And there are people, there are roles where it just genuinely doesn't matter. And you know, it's really important to make sure that we can make space for everybody in our workforces, isn't it? And
Yeah.
like I said previously, when we've got government agencies who are saying, yeah, absolutely, you know, it's your CV and not, you know, what you put on your form that matters, you know, then that is a really strong message, I think, to every other employer and every other social group and every other person that resides within this, you know, cluster of lumps of land we live on.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Backing you up. Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes. Right. Next.
Oh,
That was a lovely story. Thank you, Jana. It's a really
Hmm.
feel
I
good
like
story.
So, Mullard.
Yeah.
Don't call her Mullard or I'll slap you.
I don't mind Mullard. Okay, so I chose this one because it's almost a year since Sir Captain Tom Moore started his 100 laps around his garden in the hope of raising some tiny amount, was it £1,000 or something, for charity. He wanted to do it before he turned 100, which I believe was on the 30th of April. So he's now coming up, he would have been coming up to 101. He's not, well, technically, I mean, he still is. But unfortunately, obviously, we lost Tom. I think it was back in February. The months will blur into each other. But so this week, his family have come out and said that Tom's message of hope for everybody last year just was fantastic, and obviously raised nearly, I think, it's 39 million for the NHS. And they've said that over the weekend where he would have turned 101, which I think is 30th of April, 1st of May, can people in their communities do 100 of something as sort of a way of continuing his memory and spreading that hope? And obviously that will be a really nice stepping stone going forward as the lockdown releases, won't it? And there were some really fun ideas, like baking 100 cakes. Could you imagine how much that would cost and how much flour you would need?
We already going.
We do that.
You would. You've got like 15 children.
We did it on Friday.
Maybe 100 cupcakes.
No, just 100 minutes of Muse on the News. We're already nearly there.
We've done it. We do. Well, actually, you know, to all our people watching, we probably record that a month, don't we?
Yeah, probably do.
This is all the times we're talking about.
But I think,
isn't there, we have to cut out?
Isn't there a long-term challenge as well? Like if you want to do a bigger challenge, you can. I think there's a number of months that you can undertake this
as long
challenge.
as you do it, I think by the end of December, the family's saying.
Okay.
They?
Yeah.
I don't know. I hadn't read that bit, but that would make sense. So then you could do something that was a bit more sustaining.
Yeah.
Yes. So you can.
So we can take our little ones for to do. They could do 100 laps of our local park over a number of months.
Yeah, recommended to Molly that she eats 100 chocolate bars.
Oh no, that's not happening.
If anyone would like to donate the 100 chocolate bars,
no,
then
it's not happening. Nobody donates.
That's online at prideinsurrey.org, and Molly
All
will
chocolate
gladly
donations
eat
will be
100 chocolate bars to raise funds for
can you imagine?
Captain Sir Tom.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
but what we could do is we could definitely aim for 100 episodes of Muse on the News.
Oh,
See if we
wow.
can- see if we
We're
can
on
make it.
19 and it's been 6 months.
Well, it's
Well.
okay. We'll figure something out.
In it for the long term.
What a lovely legacy, you know. I think he had an extraordinary final year of his life, and his family, I know, are so proud of him, but actually the whole nation is proud of him, and you know, a real sort of stalwart, and you know, just a really lovely, giving man. And I think it's fantastic that his legacy is going to continue into this
they
year.
don't make him like him anymore. It reminds me of my dad, my granddad. You know, they're just like these good old boys that have really got a streak of patriotism in them, and a streak of just doing the right thing and stiff upper lip and just you know, barely well get it done. Average grades Friday, and just do what we need to do and get it done.
But it's patriotism as it should be.
Yes,
You know.
yes, not flag waving bulldog tattoos and you know, shouting "I live in Magaluf." Brexit patriotism.
Yeah, it's real patriotism as it should have been.
And I'm going to aim for 100 episodes of sarcasm in a day.
It's going to say that's no challenge
this afternoon. So
done.
My challenge is complete.
Right. Okay. Anyway, thank you for bringing this story, Molly. I think
You're
it's
welcome. It was a real feel good, I think.
Yeah, I love it when we actually talk about Captain Sir Tom, because I just feel like he's been our dude, hasn't he, this last year?
Absolute hero.
Isn't he? It's like everyone's great.
Yeah. It's nice, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
Very nice. Fabulous.
Right,
Oh, come on, what's next?
it's time.
Oh, Jana, you know. Hold on, let me press this button. The button.
What button? Oh yeah.
Ready? Are you ready?
I forget that there's that thing.
Like, I think my dance looks much better on screen than it actually ever does in real life.
Yeah.
Word of the week. Word of the week. Word of the week.
Oh.
Word of the week. Word of the week. Word of the week.
Oh, brilliant. So I'm just going to ask my lovely assistant here to put this on the screen, and she loves this word, so I'm hoping you will too. But it is mostly for Molly, this one.
Oh,
good. Peduncle.
Cool.
Do you want to read it out for anybody that might be listening
It's gone really,
online?
really quiet, isn't it? I was just expecting some kind of reaction, but this word is
Cool.
peduncle. Yes,
Peduncle.
peduncle or
But the
peduncle.
other is pedung.
Pedum. Or
Pedung.
see, I thought it might be pidung.
And now
I
I
don't
like
know what it is.
peduncle.
Peduncle. Go on anyway. Tell us what it is.
It's a peduncle, and it means a flower stalk supporting either a cluster or a solitary flower.
Oh, I love it.
Peduncle.
So a sunflower would be on a peduncle.
We could have
Yeah.
read about that.
Never
he's
heard
not
that.
popular.
He's growing sunflowers this year.
Yeah, his husband's growing
No, he
sunflowers.
is.
No, he's growing.
No, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You weren't listening.
This is perfect for bulbs, isn't it? Because nearly all of them, well, it says even it can be a cluster, but a lot of them are solitary flowers, daffodils, tulips.
Of course, you could. Sorry, I'm just looking. You could read this as peed uncle.
Yes.
Oh,
If there was
Jana,
a-
that's a different episode for a later point in the day.
Oh,
Peduncle. I like peduncle.
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 well done.
Peduncle. You know what? I love it, and it actually sounds like something that you'd see on like a naughty 1930s Brighton Beach postcard.
Peduncle.
Anyway, sorry about her, but I'm definitely going to have cause to use this word because my flower box is in the front.
Our flower boxes. I planted the blinking bulbs.
You
It's
didn't.
her vegetable box and it's her flower box.
She makes out like they're hers, and I was the one out there with dirty hands planting the things.
Our flower boxes are in
Yes.
full bloom at the moment, and we have gorgeous bulbs growing. We've got some really lovely tulips and trumpet flowers, as our youngest calls them, daffodils.
Yeah, I calls them trumpet flowers.
So they've got really good peduncles.
Okay, so I challenge you to use the word peduncle at least 100 times in a week. Go for it.
Oh,
Do it.
Right, we'll try our best. Right.
I would say on my mother's side of the family, I've got a peduncle.
Peduncle. I got it.
Unfunny. Right, next.
Oh my goodness.
So this week's note of the week is Denise, and she's from Yateley. And Denise nominated herself because she's just won the Women's Own cribbage competition. She's very proud of herself. She really enjoys cribbage, knitting, and baking.
She leads a solitary life.
No, Denise doesn't have to lead a solitary life.
She does, though.
Denise just likes blowing the trumpet, and there's nothing wrong with actually shouting from the rooftops your own achievement.
She looks like a strong, independent woman who definitely
She
plays
looks like
with
a
it.
lady who has spent money on her dentistry.
Yes, and then didn't turn up for the work.
And she looks like a lady who didn't understand how the impression wax worked.
I love her. Look at her smile. She's a really happy girl.
Character. Yeah.
I
And she
love
lives
her.
just down the road.
I love her.
I love her.
Yeah.
She's brilliant.
She's really-
And she's there. She doesn't care about anyone.
She's the first self-nominated goat we've had.
Yeah, fair play. Anybody else wants to nominate themselves? Go ahead, Goat World.
Any goats out there watching, please nominate yourselves. You don't need to have a partner or a friend who's going to do that for you. You can't rely on other people. Sometimes you do just need to blow your own peduncle.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a skip. Anyway,
Where
go
is
on.
the thing? that
She's
I'm-
a very strange looking guy, I've got to say. But the funny thing is that I had a friend who looked a little bit like that and lived in Yateley.
I can't believe we just said that.
Was your friend called Denise?
No, but it started with D.
Girls, you probably understand why Denise is called Denise.
No, stop it. We're not going there. Right.
We'll talk about that after the show.
Listen, we've got a very important message from Friend of Pride in Surrey, Bethany Rose.
Hi, my name's Bethany Rose. I'm a spoken word poet, and I talk a lot about what it feels like to have mental health issues, to not feel yourself, to feel sad, and to feel alone. I know that sometimes it's really difficult to reach out, but Pride in Surrey are offering a service where you can just text talk to 88440, and there'll be somebody on the end of the line to help you with whatever you need. And we all want you to remember that you are not alone.
Oh,
Lovely.
Bethany Rose.
I love her. She's brilliant. If you haven't seen any of her work, just have a look. She did a brilliant TED Talk recently. She was fantastic.
Yeah, we are lucky at Pride in Surrey to have such wonderful friends, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Girls, any parting words?
No, just enjoy your flowers this week.
Yeah.
Oh, they're looking so good.
They've got gorgeous peduncles.
Yeah.
Very
Aw.
strong.
They're like,
Well,
you know,
if you see Denise, just send her our love and we'll come and visit her. Yateley's only around the corner from you, isn't it?
Yeah,
yeah, it's a
Rose.
very short drive,
Yeah.
just to refresh the viewers' memories.
Hi, Denise.
I'm sorry, she's so funny.
She's brilliant.
Gorgeous.
It's just that cheeky smile with those little teeth sticking out. It's adorable.
I love her. I love her.
She's a beautiful woman.
I'm gonna
There's-
go
there's
looking for her.
Yeah.
No, we're probably gonna end up getting complaints now from people who've gone looking for these goats in their location.
Well, anyone that can't find Denise in Yateley, it's because Denise doesn't necessarily want to be found, and she doesn't need to put her address online because she doesn't want freaks from the internet going to find her.
Quite wise.
She's a private goat.
Right. Are we done?
I'm done.
You're done. I'm done.
Are you done?
Thank you so much, girls.
I'm done. Oh.
I don't know.
No, thank you.
Listen,
Yeah.
wasn't it nice to meet Ben this evening?
Absolutely lovely.
Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to work with him a little bit more and find out more about what he's growing. And the fact he's been to a couple of prides already is fantastic. So
Absolutely.
I think the work that he's doing is just so important. Like outside of farming, like with Agrespect, I think it's just fantastic. More of that kind of thing in their industries would be brilliant.
It's really important for any of our viewers watching who may not necessarily be the kind of people that attend, pride events, that there are organisations within so many areas of life that are supportive of you and are amazing, incredible resources for you, and even hubs of contacts and friendship that you can connect with. So please, hit Google or hit,
And if you can't find what you're looking for, text us to that number 88440, because we can signpost you to lots and lots of different places. And even if we don't know one off the top of our heads, we'll find one.
We'll find one.
So if you're feeling like you need some support like that, then please do hit that text button. Easy peasy.
And also, I was going to say, if anyone from MI6 is watching and they're trans, please come and talk to us. That'd be awesome. I'd love to.
They're not allowed though, are they? They're all covert.
However, if anyone,
work for MI6, spy.
We won't tell anybody you work for MI6. It's just we'll know.
Just get in touch with us, because we are the most subtle,
As a Brit.
and understated people you could ever meet, and we are very, very. Her aunt was it your auntie?
Who? What are you talking about?
Was it your godmother?
What are you talking about?
Your Easter Rising lady?
It was like my great grandmother.
Her great grandmother? Dodgy, shady.
Yeah. Well,
Is that relevant to this conversation?
No,
or just throwing that?
It's in her bloodstream to be able to be a bit overt.
too late. Right.
On that note.
Au
On
revoir.
that note, yes.
Au
Goodbye.
revoir.
Thank you, ladies.
Petit pois.
Oh, I love petit pois.
Oh yeah, I like it. I like pea.
The pea.
Oh,
Good uncle.
Uncle.
Right. Okay. Stop. We really do need to wrap it up. Right.
Stop it.
Thanks for watching, everybody. If there's a news article that you would like us to cover, please do let us know. You can contact us through all of our socials, whatever way you like. Email us
Online at prideinsurrey.org.
We'd love to hear from you.
We would.
Right. Okay, girls. We'll see you anon.
See you anon, as my granddad would say.
Ciao, ciao.
Good night.
Goodbye.
all.
Bye, everybody.